Ainda não.
Posso entrar no banheiro?
Pode, eu tô no Blurred. Acho que o Theo acordou.
Hello.
Hi, Jason.
How you doing? You okay?
I'm doing okay. And you?
Yeah, not bad. Let's get some better speakers. There we go. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Perfect. That's good. How's things with you?
Doing great. Yeah, almost leaving the town where I'm living now. This is last week here. Glad for that. Changing for the better. And you?
Yeah, whereabouts are you living at the moment?
Sorry?
Where are you living at the moment?
I'm living in Laredo. It's a city, a coastal city in the north of Spain.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The views are good. Are beautiful.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm not even
Yeah.
slightly
Oh,
jealous.
sorry?
Where are you moving to?
I'm gonna go to Brazil for 23 days, where in my family's places, and then I'll come back to Madrid. I'll be
Não
leaving
querem
Madrid.
tomar café aqui?
Very good.
Eu vou pôr.
Ready? 2 minutes to start, no?
Good FPV content here from Maria. So is this webinar literally just around about this course?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
hello. Sorry. Did you see me?
Yeah, I saw you wandering around YouTuber style.
At least I'm. No, it's just that one.
So you're
Because I was here,
yeah.
but then my. Okay.
Oh, that sounds
Let me
good.
see.
So
We have
is this
8
covering the whole AI course or just the second day?
just a second day.
Okay, so presumably you've done other webinars that cover the other parts of it.
Correcto.
Excellent. Sounds good. That's all right. Okay.
Okay.
So the presentation was okay?
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's mainly to cover some like of the topics. And what is the oh, this is so fancy with your FL1 digital. We should
I thought I'd
have
try, make an effort.
very good. Okay. Can you share your screen? Do you think you can?
Yeah, let's not yet. There we go. I just sent a request.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna, no, let me just see.
It should be, oh, there we go. Right, I can do it now. Let's just, if I just, I'll just do it as a power screen. That's right. Here we go. Tuck that in. That should make it a bit nicer. We should be able to see that. Okay. Perfect. Okay, that'll do, wouldn't it? We can whiz that through. That all look all right to you?
Perfect. Yes, thank you. Okay.
Super.
We're gonna start then.
Yeah.
I'll just give you do a quick exam, a quick
So presumably you're going to
intro.
introduce it and then hand over to me. Is that the idea?
Correct.
And then am I okay to do like a quick intro? Hi, I'm Jason from FL1. I've got X years experience as a Y and all the rest of it.
Okay, yeah, I was going to introduce you, but then you introduce yourself then.
Whatever's easiest.
Okay. I think it's easier for you to introduce yourself. Don't forget that you're a consultant for Cambridge Fund, so start the webinar.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, let's wait for people to come in.
How many have we got?
Yeah, we've got yeah, so they're coming through, so I can't see. But let's start now. I think they're coming through now. So welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Very welcome to today's webinar. My name is Maria Wiedner, and today we're going to have this webinar by Cambridge Finance. So if you haven't watched our webinar before or haven't come to our courses, we are a training and consultancy firm, and we specialize in real estate financial modeling, real estate valuation, and investment strategy. And we support professionals across the UK, Europe, Middle East, Far East as well, with high impact practical training, and they are rooted in real world application. And we are excited to be joined today here by Jason Salmon. Thank you very much, Jason, for joining us today. And Jason is going to introduce himself, and we are very excited to have him, who is coming from a more technical background, in order to create what I call like the future real estate analyst, where we can leverage AI, which is what we're going to discuss today in this webinar, in order to become more analytical, more advanced in how we approach real estate investment, and really making decisions there based on data, based on the latest technology as well. And AI is really helping us achieve that. And then in today's webinar, Jason will explore how artificial intelligence is being applied in real estate, and it's pretty much how we can automate our processes, how become more efficient in relation to real estate investment analysis. So if you like, just a call to action here, if you like what you've seen and watched, Jason is going to be presenting day 2 of our AI application in real estate course, okay, which is going to happen at the end of the month. And please join us, and then we'll have more information at the end of the course. So please let us know if you see what you like, and if you have any questions, do send us our ways. So without further ado, over to you, Jason.
Lovely. Thank you, Maria. Hi, my name's Jason Salmon. So I guess I started off my career back in the 90s as a full stack software developer, and then went on to set up my own digital agency in 2004, which I still do to this day, plus as well as consult. So today I'm consulting here with Cambridge, which is great. Also, more recently, I started a bit of a side hustle, I guess, which was teaching boot campers or full stack developers different programming languages. And I started that with University of Manchester 3 years ago, then moved on to University of Birmingham, and now do it freelance with a small startup called Step It Up. So I guess this came about really talking to Maria, because obviously Maria's got a huge amount of expertise in putting together financial models, and my expertise is more in the programming and AI and automation side of stuff. So we kind of put our heads together and said, actually, maybe we could combine some skill sets here and push things off in a slightly different direction, and really use the better both of our skills to try and bring a new angle into what Maria and you all are already doing. So that's really what this was all about. So I wanted to give you a bit of a flavor in terms of what we'll be talking about and covering within the course, and hopefully give you a few directions that you might want to have a look at as well. So really a lot of what we're trying to do here is start some thoughts in terms of how we can go beyond what the tools that we're maybe using at the moment. So if I start with the presentation, I'll go through some of the things we're covering, and then we can always take any questions at the end. But I want to give you a bit of a flavor in terms of what we're putting together. So let me just quickly start. So the course that we're putting together, or the second day of it, really is called AI application for real estate. So the whole idea is what we wanted to do is we wanted to take tools that we're already familiar with, like, for example, Excel. Obviously, that's using something like Copilot. And we thought, well, how can we take things a stage further? Because we've got all the tools out there that developers use and application developers. How can we bring some of that into our sphere and leverage all of those and take it just a step beyond something like ChatGPT, which we're probably already reasonably familiar with? And that's really where the concept comes from. So what we'll then start to have a look at then is automating things that we can already do in Excel. So I wanted to kind of keep Excel as part of it because these are all familiar tools and powerful tools that we're already using. We've probably already got our spreadsheets set up. We might already be using macros. I'm also really aware that actually some people might not be familiar with macros. So I felt it was important that we kind of touch on that, how macros work. But if there's one thing that AI is particularly good at, it's writing short macros and application code. So that's definitely something that we'll be leaning in and looking at how AI can kind of build those tools for you. We're also acutely aware of some people might be less familiar. So again, we can also look at ways in which we can troubleshoot and modify macros. So we've got the best of both worlds. The reality is, as I'm sure we're probably maybe all familiar with AI, is it does get it right a huge amount of the time, but not all the time. So be able to look a little bit behind the curtain and troubleshoot things, modify things, and solve problems and add in your expertise as modelers, that's going to be very important. So we wanted to focus on that. Now, one of the things that AI also brings the software development world, but we can also bring into the data modeling world, is the fact that we have application programming interfaces, or in real world talk, APIs. So an API is a way of which we can draw data from an external service. A good example of APIs, we use Amazon has APIs, Google has APIs. For example, if you want to use Google geolocation or Google Maps or Google Scholar or any of Google's services, even down to the capture that you might see on the form on your website, these are all services that Google will provide you. This is also data, for example, Google Places data, Google Maps data. This is all data, again, that Google can provide you. Now, without having to use Google, we can access all of this information via something called an API. And APIs are not just specific to Google, Microsoft. Literally, it could be down to exchange rates, property prices, anything we can think of. The data's there. Sometimes these APIs are paid, sometimes they're free services. But again, this is where AI can be useful, because sometimes to get up and running and start using and drawing real-time data from an API is an invaluable resource. So imagine then if we can then use tools to actually integrate that into the tools you're already using, like, for example, Excel. So part of what we'll look at then are what APIs are, how they work, what's the protocol for sending and returning data, and how we can really use AI to leverage that, get that data, write the code to get it, utilize it, and then plumb it into the tools that we're already using. Moving on from Excel then is one of the most common new tools that we use, certainly in data science and across the application development world, is something like Python. Python is an extremely powerful modern programming language that we can use to analyze and work with large amounts of data. So therefore, it lends itself very, very well to something like data modeling. So that's great and all, but how do we get started with that? Well, the good news is there are some great tools that we can use without having to be set up as fully fledged programmers, that mean that we can go off and again, we can use AI to write that code, understand the code, and work with the data. Then it gives us the tools, and we get to use that data again with tools that we already know. This would then be this hybrid, could be of using something like, for example, Excel with Python, etc. But what we wanted to give you is a flavor of all the different utilities and tools that we can use out there and how we can leverage AI to get the best of them and actually get started with it and be useful. So a lot of what we're trying to do really is, if you like, open your eyes and give you the confidence and the tools to get started with some of these tools and to know where to start with them. So looking then at why I own real estate, well, the real estate industry is a data rich but often manual, and this is where AI and automation can really make some big differences. It can reduce repetitive tasks, it can speed up decision making. It can enhance accuracy of financial models, and it can help source and analyze external data so much faster, again, using something like an AI tool. So who's this for then? Well, we thought we designed this really for real estate professionals and analysts, investors with some Excel experience, or anyone really involved in real estate modeling. We've tried to make this as non-technical as possible because ultimately, if you're modeling, you're all about putting numbers in and try and get some sort of simple result, ROI, and to make that as accurate as possible. So our job then is to try and take away the technical complexity and leverage AI as much as possible to give you the best, fastest, and most accurate results. So within the session, we'll start off in the morning, and we'll start off with getting started with Excel VBA macros. Again, I don't think it's right to assume that everyone's already familiar with them, so we need to start at the point and understand really what they are and what we can do with them. We can then look at how we can then bring AI into the mix to generate macros, generate code, and we'll have some worked examples so that you can get hands-on with that and see how that works for yourself. The other thing that I thought might be interesting to have a look at is the fact that we could work the other way around. We could start from a basis of having something in Excel and pulling external data in, or even connecting Excel straight up to the API of an AI engine. So for example, why couldn't we have Excel automatically talking in real time to something like ChatGPT? So we're putting things into our spreadsheet, and we're actually then using ChatGPT to go off and analyze some of that data in real time. Now, again, we've already got Copilot, which is a fantastic tool, but we can go a stage further. So I wanted to make sure that we're aware that actually we can work this both way around. We can use Excel, or rather we can use AI to generate Excel code, but we can also then integrate Excel using AI, using a tool, building our own conduits, if you like, to link the two together. And that's exactly what we'll look at in the morning with some worked examples so that you can become familiar with that whole process. Moving then on to the afternoon, this is where I want to move things into the Python side of things. And again, don't worry if you don't have any programming experience. Really, the whole idea is just to understand that Python is ultimately a tool to get a job done. Where Python really excels as a language is, again, it's a great tool to get things done. And there's a reason why data science and so much AI uses Python. It has a vast ecosystem then of libraries that we can use. For example, talking natively to Excel using something like Excel Wings is a good library. We've got pandas for numerical computation. We have tools for generating PDFs. We can work natively with so many different file formats. And the nice thing about Python is it's very, very well supported. There are lots of libraries, and it's something that AI is particularly good at generating Python code. There are some great tools around there, and I'll introduce you to Google Colab. What I like about Google Colab is the fact that we don't have to have any developer tools. We don't have to have any development experience or specific machine setups or anything like this. We can just run it in the cloud. And not only that, we can use AI to generate what we need to do, put it into simple steps that we can rerun. We can get AI again to explain it, and we can make modifications. What I think is particularly nice about it is the fact that once we've done that, we can then ask it to model our data in various different ways. What I think is particularly powerful about it is once we've done that, we can then effectively share that with someone else. So once we've got that model down, we've worked it out and worked through a process, we can share that process. So it's the sort of thing then within a team, if we want to rerun that at a later date, we can just drop back into that process. It's all still there, and we can just work through it all over again. It's definitely something that uses, hence its name, Google Colab. Okay, moving then on is looking in a bit more detail. In terms of automating Excel macros, we'll look at simple macro recording, how that works, how we can debug it. Because again, sometimes you might get spurious answers. We need to be realistic about this. So giving you the tools then that you can identify those kind of issues and spot them and test them, I think would be invaluable. We'll have also look at an example of where we can integrate ChatGPT directly into Excel. Finally, then we'll actually have a look at using some real data that we can pull out of a spreadsheet, and again, using AI to do that. Moving on to then debugging it, we can then look at VBA scripts, how we can write them, how we can use AI to generate them for us without having any programming experience whatsoever, how we can debug errors, and how we can then modify macros. Because you will find that there's going to be situations where it's going to get it close, but you might want to modify it. So understanding what it's doing underneath the hood will be important. We want to then bring external AI into Excel. So we'll look then beyond Copilot and bringing Excel in. So we'll be connecting external APIs. So say, for example, using OpenAI, ChatGPT, or also real estate APIs as well. how we then insert AI generated code directly into Excel, and how we then use a GPT to analyze, for example, a real world example of investment summaries. Then in introing Python into real estate, we'll look at why actually Python is a good choice. There are lots and lots of different programming languages, whereas Python is particularly well suited to what we're doing. We'll look at the reasons for that. We'll then look at the fact that it's got more flexibility than Excel. It's obviously a lot more modern. Excel's been around for many, many years. In fact, it's been around longer than I've been in this industry. It's got a huge ecosystem of data libraries, and it's great for repeatable analytics and model sharing. So again, we'll look at Python versus VBA so you can make an informed choice over which platform you might use and what are the benefits, pros and cons of each. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Google Colab will be a tool that we're using. One of the main reasons, if I'm truthful, it's just very easy to get started. We don't have to have any specific software or licensing. We can just get straight onto a Google Colab using any regular free Google account, and we can get started and become productive straight away. Not only that, we can have some worked examples ready for you so that you'll literally be able to see how it works straight off and modify it to suit yourself. We don't have any setup required. It's great for collaborating different scripts. And one thing it's particularly good at is testing things. If we want to give a right, is the fail first idea of being able to get something scaffolding quickly, test an idea, see how viable it is, and see if it works. Likely then we'll look at integrating AI tools. So say, for example, Gemini, ChatGPT, how can we integrate those into your collaborating environment? In terms of real examples, for each scenario, then we'll model different critical factors. So for example, we'll look at Python libraries for real estate, some that might be useful tools for you to use. You look at something like Pandas and how that handles then financial modeling. And also, for example, scraping listings. So a very good Python script library that we use is something like Beautiful Soup. If we wanted, for example, to crawl a website to get the latest set of figures off, so to literally take the data out of a website, this really would be a suitable where you have a situation where, for example, you don't have access to an API or there just isn't an API at all. So we can also then use data scraping tools as well. And the good news is they're particularly easy to put together, again, using AI. How then we connect APIs, so Zillow, LoopNet, and we'll give you some other ones that are more property specific as well. It could be something from as simple as doing translation. It could be for looking up, say, for example, market rates for something, or even exchange rates. All of this sort of information is available via public APIs. Lastly, then, we'll also have a look at Matplotlib, which is a tool in Python then that we can use for visualizing things into data, creating graphs for us. We will then look at building AI enhanced workflows. So we'll combine the tools to look at data gathering, cleaning up data, analytics. Those kind of repetitive works are very, very well suited to AI. It's particularly good at that kind of thing. Visualization again. What I think is good about AI is the fact that we can talk to it in our own language, if you like. We don't necessarily have to be technical. We ask it for outcomes with as much detail as we can give it in our own words. And then AI is particularly good at putting that together and putting the data together for us using these tools. Then we'll also look at how we might share, because again, these are all great, but it's the sort of thing, once we get some tools down, we've got it practiced, we've got it running. How do we rerun that? How do we share that with other parts of the team? How do we get it so that we can go back in weekly or monthly, rerun and get the latest up-to-date data? As opposed to doing the thing that we've all been guilty of. We get the data, it's all great, and then we've got to come back to a project in a month's time and we can't quite remember the process or where we went or which library it was, or maybe something's expired. It happens to us all. So what tools can we actually then implement so that we can go and repeat that over and over again? Okay, just to finish up then, is some final thoughts. I want you to have maybe a think before the session then. So what maybe could you automate in AI? What are you doing as part of your modeling that maybe it would be great if you could get the data from somewhere, or you could speed up something, or you could have something run over and over again? What tools could you use? Because again, bring that to us and it'd be great to kind of explore that a little bit further. Ultimately, what we want to try and do within the day, though, is give you an idea of what some of the tools out there and how they are, where to start with them, and then ultimately empower you to make better, faster, smarter decisions with less effort. So with that, I'll wrap up there. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a flavour in terms of what we'll be looking at on the course. Are there any questions at all?
Thank you so much, Jason. I don't think we have a question yet here. So please, if you do have questions, please put in the Q&A box. But I think like this is one of the main areas that we want to cover from our perspective of being the financial modelers, the investment analysts, how we can connect this new layer now of being more technical, more like looking at Python, looking at AI, like how to be an economist, as I am, into AI. So maybe the question that I have for you is like, we need to join up this two areas of science, I would say, like the economics and the data science as well. So how do you see this going forward? Like, because we are looking here at a profession that doesn't really exist yet, which is like the economist data scientist, which is like linking the two areas together. So I'm just curious, like, because we are really stepping to an area that's like for me especially, like it was pretty unknown, and then now like I'm scraping data from the website. I am collecting an API from the World Bank into my spreadsheets. So how do you see this transition, like from one side? So now you need to understand a lot more of the economics, and I'm very curious, like what do you think about it?
It's difficult to say. I guess I'm not necessarily in each space so much, or possibly more the data science side of things. I think you're probably going to find more of an overlap, which I guess is inevitable. So I think you're going to find, as you say, they're kind of almost two disciplines, but there's so much overlap. So I think you'll certainly see a little bit more of economists becoming more data science and data science becoming more economists, etc. I think ultimately what these tools will allow anyone to do is to step into some of those roles and get more data a lot quicker than they can. Whereas before it would have been, right, I need to get a developer or I need to get a specialist. You'd have had all of these barriers would have had to come in place, larger team, a lot more cost to get the right kind of technical specialties in place to discover that information. And one of the nice things about it now is hopefully just a small push in the right direction is it unlocks all of those. It means that, all right, it might not be 100% perfect, but we can get so much more data, so much more quicker without having to have all those tools in place. So I think even the sort of things that we can do now compared to even 2 years ago, I'm sure you'll agree, we're just in a different game now, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very much, Jason. So as I mentioned, if you would like to join us on our next course, please do. We're going to have, the course is going to be on the 29th and 30th of April. And we will talk about the general application of AI, and then also the more technical, how to use AI in order to develop this tools really that it can really boost our efficiency in terms of analytics, in terms of, in my case, real estate investment as well. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and thank you so much again, Jason. I'll see you on the 30th, and I hope I'll see most of you on the 29th and 30th as well on our AI application for real estate. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the next one.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you. Bye now.